If you want to see how good your driver is, put them in an absolute tractor.
Just put him in a steak.
Put him in a steak, sorry, but put him in a steak.
Hello and welcome to a special mini episode of A Polite Notice, a single-seater podcast. We're here today with me, Becca, and Dan to yap about a very special part of motorsports with a very special guest. Please everyone welcome Ashley Appleby.
Hello.
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 Ashley is the social media manager at SimStaff, and she specialises in creating content and engaging and building online communities within SimStaff. She has a strong foundation in digital marketing and a passion for esports and the motorsports industry. She designs impactful campaigns that boost SimStaff's brand visibility and drives their social media presence. Outside of her professional pursuits, Ashley is an avid gamer and enjoys exploring her creativity through art and music. So, Ashley, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I'm
Excellent.
trying to brace myself for the weekend.
Yes. Obviously, this will probably come out in a few weeks' time, so we've just seen Abby Pulling officially confirm her F1 Academy championship for the second time, and we're now just waiting on the F2 and F1 results from the weekend.
I mean, once just wasn't enough for Abby. She really needed to do it twice, just for our sake.
Absolutely. So, Ashley, this is the question we ask all of our guests. You are guest number 3 on our podcast, so this is the question we've asked all our guests so far. What is your earliest memory of racing?
Oh, I would say, well, my family has always been like really, really big into cars, and they would always play a lot of racing games on like racing sims. And I remember my granddad went and got probably one of the original Ferrari Thrustmasters racing wheel setup. You're all shocked.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my goodness.
And I remember he set it up. So he went and got this, I remember it so clearly, like this glass table, and he like put the legs in a specific way on it, like actually like built it himself, and then put the wheelbase on it, and then he had like this massive TV in the living room, and he just like would plonk it down in front of this massive TV. But yeah, I would go around there just to play on it, and I've only played dirt. That was the only thing I would play was Dirt Rally. But that might be my earliest memory of racing, was just playing a racing sim game.
So safe to say you've been in sim racing for a while in one way or another.
Well, I mean, I think that's how I really learned how to drive.
Oh my God.
So my first driving lesson, I was like pretty comfortable in the car. The only thing I did is that I had a habit of driving on the other side of the road. The reason being was because I played a lot of GTA, and it would be driving on the other side of the road.
You know what? Anywhere the wheels can move, it's a road, so you're fine. I don't think
exactly. Yeah.
This is like the second or third episode where someone's talked about how bad they are at driving, which, considering we're a podcast about motorsports, is a little bit concerning.
Well, there's a reason why we don't actually go and drive the cars.
Yeah, no, I have no recollection of that. I don't remember any of that. I don't know. I'm an excellent driver.
I think it was you.
I don't recall. I don't remember. It's erased from my memory.
Asking you to tell me when you're driving so I can not be on the road.
No idea what you're talking about.
We are getting so off track. Literally. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about your background in content creation and esports.
So, I've always been quite creative. I'm quite a creative person. When I left school and I went into college, I studied TV and film media. Well, originally I was doing game design, and then I got bored of it after a few weeks, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to TV and film media. So I went and studied that for 3 years, and I got my extended diploma in it. I didn't really know what I wanted to be in the industry at the time. I just knew it was really, really hard to get into it. And my mum and dad said to me, they were like, maybe you should like start looking at other options of careers instead of trying to make this work. And I was like, cool, all right. So I was like, well, I guess I'll become a teacher then. So I went to a school and I got a job, and within a year I was qualified as an autism specialist, which is what I did for 8 years. So whilst I was doing all of that, I was trying to get as much experience as I physically could in the creative industry. and I was doing internships. I was doing like loads of unpaid roles, and then COVID hit, and I was sat on Discord with my friends one day. And we were playing games, and I just went, I'm going to start up my own freelance business. And they went, what? And I was like, I'm just going to start up my own freelance business. And they were like, random, but okay. And within the day, I had a business set up, and I was like doing graphic design stuff, video editing for content creators. And that's kind of how it all started. So I was doing that. It started to slow down a bit because after COVID, like live streaming and content creation just went flat. So I thought the beginning of this year, I was like, I'm really, really going to go for it. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to give it everything I have, and I'm going to make something out of it. And I do not know how I managed to do it, but I managed to get a couple of freelance contracts doing social media management, and SimStaff was one of them. And then however I managed to do it, I don't know how, I managed to get a job as a marketing manager. So that's what I do full time now. And I have no idea how I did it. But yeah, so SimStaff was actually one of those freelance contracts, and I've been with them for nearly a year now. Woo! 1 year anniversary.
Woo! Congrats!
It's been great, and I've really, really enjoyed it. We just passed 600 followers the other week, which is very exciting.
I checked this morning on Instagram, we have 122, so you're beating us.
You'll get there eventually, it just takes ages.
We have our social media lady, Iman, is wonderful, so I believe in her.
Yeah, just consistency in it. Consistency, content. And I mean, Instagram's changing everything to do with their, like, hashtags are going to be like no longer relevant anymore. So it throws a bit of a spanner in the works for a lot of people. But
it's all going to the algorithm. So tell us a bit more about SimStaff for those who don't know and don't follow you on Instagram.
Well, you should be following SimStaff on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely. You should be following SimStaff on Instagram. All the links will be in the bio.
So SimStaff is basically a global leader in simulator event solutions. We don't just do events, we also do private installs. So we get a lot of people who go, I want to have like a full-on racing setup in the house, make it happen. And we go, yeah, bro, we got you. So
the dream, the absolute dream.
Yeah, some of the setups that these people have, like imagine we did one for a guy called Adam, I believe his name is. He had a Ferrari themed racing setup, and he had a custom made PC, which shout out to Jack, because Jack did amazing on this PC build, but it gave me the vibes of like a V8 engine, this PC. It was so cool, and it was like a Ferrari red as well, and it was great. I'm so jealous of it. Like, we were all sat there, we were like, yeah, we really, really want this. So yeah, some of them were so cool.
We have room for one more friend in our group. I'm just saying, Adam, if you want to...
Yeah, Adam, if you're out there, I know this is meant to be a women's only podcast, but if that's what it takes to get access to your Ferrari themed simulator, hit us up. We'll make content.
Yeah. We will make content. It's going to be great.
How much space does something like that, like how big of a room do you need in your house?
I mean, so I got a simulator in my office, and my office is quite small, but it takes up like the length of like one of my walls. It's not too big. And I've got the Playseat trophy seat, which is what I would call like a glamping kind of chair. It's like a budget kind of sim rig chair. So I have that there, and then I have the drive base attached to it, and then I went a bit extra and I brought a really, really expensive monitor mount and I attached it to the drive base, and then I have a 27-inch curved monitor on it, which is really, really cool. So yeah, they don't take up a lot of space. You can get quite, like I said, the trophy's quite small, or people just like clamp it to a desk and then just play on it like normally on their PC.
So speaking of this, though, how much, hypothetically, let's say that we're in the market for a sim racer.
Yeah.
What can SimStaff supply? Like, how much does, on average, a racing sim cost? And how similar does it feel to driving a real race car?
So it depends on how realistic you want it to be, how you want it to look.
I want to feel like Lewis Hamilton in like 2014.
Very, very specific.
Sorry.
So, I mean, they actually have a Mercedes. There's actually a Playseat Mercedes rig that you can get, like a AMG Petronas one, which I'm actually like obsessed with, and I would love to get it.
Ashley, just take my money. Take all of my money. It's not a lot of money at the moment.
Or if you need like lay people to come and test something. I don't know if that's something you do, but you know, you have our contact details now. We're always willing to come and just help out.
Did you use the sim that we had at the Vegas event?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I came 11th in the standings. I was very, very proud of that.
Nice.
The only time I'd been on a sim before that was at the F1 Experience, and they didn't have the kind of reactivity that the one at Silverstone that we were on had. So, like, if you went over the grass, it didn't react as strongly as the one at Silverstone did.
Yeah.
I remember saying to Dan, like, watching over your shoulder at one point and being like, let go of the wheel before you break your wrists.
Yeah, there's a bit of a health and safety thing with sim race. Let go of the wheel.
So listen, my brain was listening, but my body wasn't reacting at that moment. I was full on shaking with that wheel. It was great.
It's incredible how reactive it is.
It really is.
I believe the setup on that wheel, if I remember correctly, as to what I was told, is it was either a quarter or a third amount of what an actual F1 driver endures.
What, in terms of the force to turn the wheel?
I think it's the force feedback and the pedals. I think that's what it was.
Oh, I'm doomed.
So if you could deal with that, GG's.
I'm never going to become a race car driver.
We would not survive, I fear. We're not gonna make it.
I mean, with actual like drivers though, like their gym regime is, even like sim racers have to like actual go and do like actual workouts and stuff like that. Like they have a very specific diet and workout program to go with. So I mean, if you wanted to do it professionally, you probably could. It would just be you have to go and get the gains first, and then.
Just casually start a new lifestyle all of a sudden for an entirely new career. Why not?
Esports is a healthy lifestyle choice, is what I'm hearing.
It is. I mean, if you do like when was it? Beginning of the year, I did an endurance race, like an IndyCar endurance race on my racing sim, and it was 3 hours long. Just 3 hours, right? I was sweating. I couldn't believe it. Like I was absolutely exhausted.
And you think the drivers are sat there in fireproofs?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean. Like, I want to chime in on something there. You said just 3 hours.
Just 3 hours. You take Max Verstappen doing 24 hours of Le Mans in a racing sim.
This is the small Monaco penthouse all over again.
Yeah, I do see your point of comparison, but equally, like, how long are these events typically? How much of your day do they take up?
It really depends on which ones you go for. Like that was an endurance race, so typically they're a lot longer. You also get to switch out a lot of the time as well with people if you need. But like, let's say I went to the Sky Guild Women's Esports event a few weeks ago now. And that was a lot of fun. And that went on for about 4 hours they were doing that. Obviously it wasn't like racing the full 4 hours. I think they only did like 3 or 4 races, but I guess that's a different environment as well, because they had the stress of, because obviously it was a live competition, like it was being filmed and stuff as well. There was an audience there. I guess there was all the stress of that as well, and it was for like, there was like a £30,000 contract or whatever, or esports contract in the mix or something, so it was quite a bit of pressure on them. Also, a lot of them didn't have like, so basically the Sky Guild event was, they were touring around the UK. Sim staff was supporting it as well. I actually went to the tryouts in Birmingham at the Bull Ring, and they were just getting like women off the street to come and like set a lap time. And then it would be like the people who like qualified, they got to go into the final and do it. So a lot of these girls that were there hadn't been sim racing for that long at all. And one of the girls who actually got one of the contracts literally put everything that she had into it. She was like, this is what I want to do. And she was like, she went out and brought a rig, and she was like, she really went ham on it, and she did so well. But yeah,
congrats to whoever she is. We will find out who that was and shout her out in the episode description. So I'm really interested. You said that the setup that we drove on when we first met was like 30-40%. What's the kind of average setup for an esports event, particularly the really kind of hyper competitive one?
So As far as the setups are concerned, I'm not sure what it is for like the F1 esports event, like the actual one. But I know from the ones that I do at home and stuff, and the rigs that we take to different events, is it's usually around about the same as what we did in Silverstone. Obviously, if we give it a different wheel setup, for example, so the ones that you guys were on was the Acertec Forte race bundle. Shout out to Acertec because they're great.
Oh, of course, yes. Shout out to Acertec.
But if we went on a Fanatec setup, it would be a slightly different kind of feel and a slightly different type of setup that we do on the wheel, just because of how it's mechanically made.
Are there like people are like, I like Acertec, I like Fanatec, and then they're at war?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm more of a Fanatec girl myself, so I have the McLaren GT3 bundle.
Ooh,
which is quite nice.
Is it papaya orange or silver arrow?
So it's like a carbon fiber black, and then it has the McLaren logo on it, and the shifters at the back are like a chrome orange.
Oh, she sounds snazzy.
So yeah, that's so nice. I love it. But yeah, so my Fanatec one is set up slightly differently to how I would set up an Acertec one, and also it depends on personal preference as well, because I'm not very like the like the Acertec one that we had at Sil Vegas. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't set up my sim like that. That is not a workout I want to do every day. So, I like the pedal dampeners to be a lot lighter, so I can just like.
Yeah, the brake pedal was hard work. Yeah. The brake pedal was really hard work. So obviously, I think a lot more people are kind of familiar with sim racing now because obviously loads more people know about competitive esports, the existence of the F1 arcade, giving people more access to sim racing. So how has that changed kind of the environment in both, I guess, at SimStaff as a company and also in just esports in general?
So I think it's made it a lot more accessible and a lot more mainstream now. I mean, even just like esports as a whole has come a long way as well. And I think that just the racing fact, because if you look at other esports, like I used to do semi-competitive Overwatch when I was in college, that didn't get like a very good reception because people didn't really count it as a sport or something that really involved skill. They just saw it as going pew pew to people and killing squishies. That was like the whole game. But racing and doing virtual motorsport is something that people identify that you need to have skill with, and especially with the rig setups, it's more of like a shared understanding between people that, okay, you actually need to know what you're doing with this, and that it's like an endurance kind of thing. So I think it's a lot more respected as a whole in the esports community, and I think that people who go into it professionally are more respected than what a League of Legends professional is respected like. Obviously, from like a business perspective, because it's like on this like uprising boom and it's still quite a new industry, still quite new technology. The technology is always advancing. It means that from a business perspective, people are more interested in it and they're more curious in it, which I mean is really, really good because you get all these new people coming in. And I think from like F1 Arcade's perspective as well, is that they've done a really, really good job at making it even more accessible and showing it off to even more people and getting people involved. And yeah, I think it's a really, really good thing all around for everyone.
They do charge you £12 for a glass of white wine though, so swings and roundabouts.
You win some, you lose some.
That's my experience.
It is F1 though. It is F1.
It is F1.
And these are the people who charge like 20 grand for the Vegas Grand Prix to go and sit in the wellness chamber or whatever and do like wellness shots. And
they did have an attempt at a 44% off for a second.
Yeah. But did you not see the people who bought tickets but then were told there isn't enough space in the grandstands? So they all had to queue outside.
I didn't see that. Was that a thing?
Yeah.
No.
So loads of people who actually bought tickets to Vegas and couldn't get in. It's bizarre.
But they had loads of influencers there. They were like, it's an influencer.
Exactly. It didn't make for a great experience as a spectator.
I mean, I think F1 is becoming less for the fans now, to be honest. More of like a...
It's a spectacle. It's very much becoming a for consumption spectacle, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But as long as the racing stays competitive and fun, there's always something for us to watch.
So all that being said, we've talked a bit about SimStaff. We've talked a bit about your background and how you came into it. What is your favorite part of your job? What's your favorite part of either building and engaging with esport communities or just at SimStaff? What's one thing that you can tell us about it?
I think my favorite part is probably tied between going to events and then seeing, this is going to sound so vain, but seeing the post do well.
No, completely get it. Completely get it.
Such a high. We had a post the other day and only get 800 likes. I have such a high from it because like I've done my job well. But yeah, it's probably a mix between that and when I have the opportunity to go to events like Sil Vegas and do the photography and do some video work and just meet people.
That honestly sounds amazing. So in terms of engaging with what sounds like a huge online community, how do you bring attention to the things that matter most? So you've mentioned a lot of women taking into account just a great deal of esports and doing well on sim racing and everything else. How do you bring that attention in the right place, if that makes sense?
SimStaff as a whole is just a company that's really interested in kind of giving women chances in the industry and really investing in that space. All of the work that we do with Girls Across the Grid, for example, is a key testament to like all of that. Obviously, having a female social media manager helps as well. I do go and comment on a lot of other female influencers stuff for their racing setups and things. But just it's such a good community and space for promoting diversity in the industry, and it's a good company for that as well. Especially with esports, is that it's a lot more, the bar is a lot lower for women. The barrier for entry is a lot lower. And typically in the gaming community, out of all the communities I'm in the gaming community, the racing, the iRacing and the virtual motorsport community is probably one of the most accepting communities that I've seen. You have your dodgy ones, but the majority of them are really good. So I think it just makes it even more of an inclusive space. And the thing that I try and do as the social media manager is to I'm very much one of those people that I bring attention to matters when I feel like it needs to be brought attention to, but the rest of the time I want everything else to be a level playing field. I don't necessarily want to always bring focus on like a diversity or a female aspect into the community, because that's not what we should be focusing on, because it should just be a level playing field anyway. So I think that's kind of like a unique perspective that I have on the issue, I guess, is I think that it should just be a level playing field, and we shouldn't, when something big happens, we should talk about it and we should celebrate it, but it should be just a level playing field. We're all equals.
Completely. And that's why, you know, we keep hearing about the progression of the F1 Academy. They're now going to be 16 drivers on the grid. They've got another team. High Tech are coming in.
Yeah.
18 drivers.
18 drivers. Sure. Thank you, Dad. I'm glad someone's paying attention. Seeing the progression of women, and we spoke a load about the F1 Academy in our second episode. But, I mean, how do you think it's going?
I think it's a good thing, but I wish that we didn't need it.
We've heard that a lot from people.
I think that's the thing that maybe like annoys me the most about it, because it's like an extra step that you have to do to get into it, whereas like a male can just do go-karting since they were however old, then they get put into F3, F2, F1, but now it's like women have to do go-karting. They have to try and manage to get a sponsorship from somewhere for that. Then they have to go to F1 Academy, and then they only have like one or two chances to get into something else, and then they get moved into a different category, and then they have to build their way up in there. I think it's just adding an extra barrier for women, and that if we didn't have that there and we just said, okay, well, yeah, you're good enough, come and try out a Formula E car, it would be a lot better. Like I just said, I think it's drawing attention to something that shouldn't be there in the first place. Everything should just be an equal playing field.
I heard in the commentary earlier that Maya Weg, the Ferrari back driver, used to race against Kimi Antonelli in karting and beat him in karting. Yeah. So the fact that he's going to Formula One and she's having to go through the F1 Academy, I think kind of proves your point quite nicely, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. I like what they're doing. I think their heart is in the right place. I just wish it didn't exist, and it was just like an easier thing for women to be able to do stuff in general. And I mean, the fact that Abby is the only one out of, I think she's the only one out of that entire grid of women who are even getting a shot at something else just because she won it is also that's an issue in itself, is that you're only giving one person a chance to go and prove themselves.
I mean, so many of those girls have shown themselves to be very competitive and very impactful racers.
Yeah.
Who have the ability to form these huge fan bases. You look at people like Bianca, who have got huge backing, and they still can't get a leg up. It's really sad in some ways.
And I mean, that's also to do, I mean, it's not, I think the thing that we overlook is that people are always saying that it's the driver's fault, when it's not just the driver's fault. It can be the car's fault, it can be the team strategy fault, it can be anything like that. So I feel like you have a load of women in F1 Academy who are phenomenal drivers. They're just being so significantly let down by the car that they're in, the team that they're on, the team strategy that they're being given, that it's a shame because they're never going to be able to make anything of themselves because of it.
You know, as a woman who's had success breaking into an area of the motorsports world, do you have any advice that you would give to women trying to break into esports, motorsports, marketing, things like that?
I'll do it from two perspectives. I'll do it from a marketing perspective and then general. So from a marketing perspective, the advice that I would give you is to try and find as many opportunities as you can. Even if they're just internships and you're not being paid, do them to build up your portfolio and really, really work on your portfolio and get a load of stuff together. One of the things that I did was that I would ask my friends to give me like a random task. And I was lucky enough because a lot of my friends were streamers. So I'd be like, give me a random task to complete for you. And they would be like, okay. And I'd be like, cheers. And I would go and do it. And that would be a part of my portfolio. So that's what I did quite a bit. And then a lot of things that companies are doing now. So you go for like an interview and then they'll do like a skill screening. So they make you do a task for them. So do the task and then add that to your portfolio. You can say, this is professional experience that I had doing this task for this company. You don't have to tell them that it was to do with an interview.
Smart.
So from a marketing perspective, that's what I would put it as. From just an industry perspective and trying to get into the motorsport industry is to just not give up and to just keep going for it over and over again. You're going to get a lot of rejections, but eventually something will come through and it will be a start. And don't get discouraged either, because I feel like a lot of people, they get offered a role and they go, I don't want it because it's not where I want to be. And that's probably the worst thing that you can do, because you need to get your foot in the door. And if that means starting as making coffee for Christian Horner, even though it might not be the best thing in the world,
my personal hell.
You know, if you want to get in the industry, you're going to do that for a year and then do something else.
I would rather not join the industry.
Maybe that's a bad example. Making coffee for Toto Wolff. There we go.
Much better.
Everybody
I could do
would
that.
love to do that. I do that.
How does he take his coffee? What's his go-to order?
Oh, he's 100% like
pumpkin spice.
Full on, like black coffee, 100%.
Yeah, he seems like the type.
Straight from the beans.
Straight. Just give him the beans. Give him the beans and he'll chew them, I think. If you really have to. Just be like,
I think he's either like a black coffee with nothing, or he's like a full 18 pumps of caramel, 19 pumps of vanilla bean.
Oh, he's a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, I think that's where he is.
He's a he's a stereotypical white girl. That's what he is. Pumpkin spice latte.
Well, he's also a big George Russell fan, so that fits. I love George Russell. I'm also a stereotypical white girl.
What do you think of all the beef going on?
The beef is intense. We are in the middle of the beef right now, as of time of recording.
It's so funny. I agree with Lando. Please don't make it end. Just
my favourite thing is watching other people have opinions on it.
Yeah, and it's the fact that they sat them apart with no eyesight given for their final annual thing.
No direct eye contact.
So did you hear that apparently George got to the dinner last and there were only 2 seats left and they were next to Max, and Max says, "Hey George," and waves at him to come over. George walks over, takes the chair and goes to the other side of the table and sits next to Lewis.
We love a petty bitch who lives for drama. That's spicy. If that's true, that's hilarious. That's some great tea. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome. I always bring the good tea.
That's so funny.
Now,
who leaked that tea? I bet it was Valtteri.
I mean, he's the one who paid, so I'm gonna enjoy it. Now, on a lighter and very different note, could you tell us about a favorite campaign or a project that you're especially proud of? Anything in the past, whether within SimStaff or outside of it? Is there anything that kind of solidified your experience and you're just like, I'm going to remember this moment for the rest of my life?
That's a really, really good question. I would probably say when we were either the Sky Guild stuff, because that was like a prolonged campaign that was like throughout the whole of this year and I was quite involved in and quite passionate about. It was definitely a highlight for me and I love going to the finals. It was amazing. I would say that or Silverstone stuff where we have the Hilton Garden Inn at Silverstone and you can now get one of our simulators put in the room.
Wait, what?
Did you not know?
No, because we stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn.
Like, we don't have to leave the hotel room?
No, like the racing sim gets put into the hotel room with you.
No one told me this.
Yeah.
Damn, we need to book another night.
We're going for New Year's. This is what I'm doing when the clock strikes midnight. You'll find me sim racing.
Find me in the gravel in Singapore.
If I'm not mistaken, we had somebody rent one of the simulators actually in their hotel room on the Silverstone weekend. And I really, I hope in my mind, right, that they got it positioned by the balcony, right? And they were playing on Silverstone as the race was happening. That's what I hope they did, because that would be amazing. But maybe a waste of money, but amazing.
In my head, it's Max training. Because you know how he loves to sim race till 2 a.m. and then win a race. So I think he was just using it as training.
He's just using it for giggles.
He won't be able to do that with a newborn on the way anymore. Catch him swinging a baby.
No, he'll be awake at 2 a.m. for different reasons.
He will 100% be awake. He'll be streaming with the baby in his arm.
Congrats, Max and Kelly.
Genuinely, what do you call those things that you put a baby in while they're taking a nap? Like a little body?
A papoose.
A papoose situation, and then the baby's just there and he's...
A papoose? Is that what they called? I thought they were a baby carrier.
Or a baby carrier, yeah. I feel like papoose is a word from Doctor Who. I want to say it's an episode of Doctor Who that I learned that, which is very lame.
Fair enough. No, but that sounds amazing. It definitely sounds like you guys have a very steady and very good amount of projects. And I imagine that it went up as the years went.
A varied portfolio.
Great portfolio.
I can actually give you the stats because we did
Hell yeah.
We did our own version of Spotify Wrapped yesterday that got released.
Amazing.
I love stats. Hit me with them.
All right. So our favourite brands that we worked with is everyone, obviously. But we supported 320 events this year.
That's almost one a day.
It's really, really cool. Our top 5 regions are the UK, the US, Australia, Japan, and France. Their top 5 issues resolved are force feedback, networking, display issues, firmware, and skill issues. And yeah.
That's a read. That's an absolute read. So when Spotify told me I was in my musical, theatre, Broadway, West End moment era.
That whole thing is made by AI, by the way.
I bet it is, and AI hates me.
You know what my one was? Hold on, I need to find it now. It made literally 0 sense of what it was. And I was like, what does this even mean, bro? Like, what are you trying to tell me right now about myself?
I had one that was like sweater weather, beach, indie-ish grandma
yes, that's the
or
one
something.
I kind of had, yes.
Sweater at the beach? What beach am I at?
I don't go to the beach. I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating and it gets everywhere. Quote Anakin Skywalker.
True. That's big preach.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I was proud of it for a moment because I saw a LinkedIn post that said an intern initially made it, and the fact that it's been taken over by AI, I'm a bit disappointed.
Oh, it's really sad, isn't it? Yeah.
That's so sad. Because we here at A Polite Notice podcast do not use AI in our content creation apart from the Canva background remover tool because I don't want to spend time editing those out.
Yeah, fair enough.
All of our posts are made by hand from scratch. Like a hand-cooked crisp.
I can't find it now. But it was really, really funny. And I was like, what does this mean?
It's just like, what are you trying to tell me about myself, Spotify? What am I doing wrong here?
Who am I?
Who am I, really?
What do I want? What do I like? But then all of my top 5 songs were from the same album.
Yeah, but they do make sense for you, knowing your top 5 just read you to filth.
What were your top 5 songs?
They were all from the Vaccines album that came out in January.
Oh.
But I'm a pharmacist, so the fact that my top band is called the Vaccines always makes me laugh. That's just a fun little factoid there. Right, so beyond your kind of day-to-day work, we talked about how you love to game. You said you played Overwatch.
I don't play Overwatch anymore. I was a diva main, so I was an off-tank main. And then they ruined the game, and now they only have one tank, so off-tanks don't really matter anymore. But I don't play it anymore, mainly because I played it at such a competitive level that I can no longer have fun on the game. Yeah. And
yeah, I know that feeling well.
Even if I go into like a quick play match, I'm yelling at people down there. I'm like, what are you doing that for? They're like, bro, chill, it's a quick play match. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Sorry, this is serious business.
Delete the game.
You know those games that you play with your friends that you fear will ruin your friendship? I imagine that would be the level of intensity you would get into if you were to play with friends.
So my friends have played Overwatch with me once. We played it for an hour and then they stopped playing because apparently I stressed them out.
This is what happened when I tried to play Call of Duty with my partner. He plays Call of Duty quite intensely.
Oh, I love Call of Duty.
And I picked up a controller once and I played one game of Warzone Rebirth and he was just shouting at me the whole time and it was so stressful. God forbid if I ever tried to play Rocket League.
So I have a really, really bad habit on Warzone. Any battle royale, like Warzone or Fortnite, I go off by myself. And my friends always get really, really annoyed because they're like, you're going to die. You're going to die if you go off by yourself. And I go off by myself and it's like, they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just got a double squad, right? Like, this is why.
Nice.
Because you're not getting punished for it.
It's just the mentality of, I know I'm going to die if I stay with you, but if I go off on my own, I actually have a chance.
I feel like I know so much more about Call of Duty than I did before I started going out with my current partner. And so I know that he thinks the exact same about his friends. And his friends might listen to this episode, so I hope they know that. Adam, Louis, you're trash. So, sorry, Callum, you too.
That was personal.
Right. Where can people follow you on socials? And where can people follow?
Please don't come to my house and follow me.
Where can people follow you home? Drop the postcode.
I don't really leave the house, so if you were to follow me...
Where can people find you on social media? Where can people find Sim Stuff on social media?
You can follow me on LinkedIn, Ashley Appleby, or you can follow Sim Stuff and you can follow all the stuff that I post on there. Or you can follow my personal Instagram, which doesn't have a lot of things on, but my story is mainly pictures of my cats, if that interests you.
Oh yeah, Dan was definitely hoping to talk to you about those cats.
You wanted to talk about my cat? Okay, all right.
One of the things that I got into doing about 3 years ago on top of my full-time job is I really missed pets, so I got into cat sitting, looking after people's cats in their own homes when they're away.
Yes.
And
Yes, I'm listening.
I became obsessed. We already have a lot of cats at home, but I'm just it's like my own little collection of clients. And the fact that, first of all...
She sends me photos. They're all very cute.
They're all so cute. But first of all, I did see your Bentley versus Mercedes story. Now, if your partner doesn't let you get a second cat, he can fight me. I am ready.
So Bentley Jet, I got him last year. Or was it this year? No, it would have been...
He's so beautiful. He's a very beautiful cat.
He's he's sleeping next to me at the moment. We got him from Cats Protection. He was a rescue cat. And at the time that we got him, they said, yeah, he won't deal well with any other cats. He was very, very violent. He would bite a lot. He yell. He'll do the whole thing. And since then, he's now very timid. He comes and sits on my lap. They said that he would never sit on my lap. He does that now. He only bites me when he's playing, and he gets a bit overexcited when he's playing, and he can bite me and scratch me to death. But he's a lot better now and a lot calmer. So I was like, I wonder if it would be good to get him like another rag doll, so he can have like a buddy to play with.
I've always had most of my ragdoll clients come in twos.
Yeah.
So there's always a male sibling and a female one, and they actually do very well together. So if you do end up getting a second one,
so that's what I want for him. So the cat that I posted on my story is a female black ragdoll, and I wanted to call her Mercedes, so I would have Bentley and Mercedes. That's so sad.
No, it's beautiful. So it is beautiful. Oh, definitely get that second ragdoll. They do very well together. You would have a girl who's very chilled out, in my experience, and then a boy who's a bit hyperactive.
And I'd have him who's just cracked out all of the time. He's high. I swear. Like,
they genuinely, yes.
Stuff that he does. He also, I'm really, really impressed that he's been quiet, because he's so talkative, and like,
he's a chatty boy.
When he comes downstairs, he'll be like yelling at me coming downstairs. He'll go, meow, meow, like letting me know that he's coming. So,
I have arrived.
It's me time.
Give me when I'm on the phone to my partner. So we do long distance, but he'll like run into the room when he hears his voice, and he'll go in front of the phone. He'll go meow, meow, and he'll have like a conversation back and forward with him. But yeah, so he's been pretty good. But I am thinking about getting another one, just because I want one called Mercedes.
I will die on this hill. Get a second cat.
This podcast endorses double cats.
Let us know in the comments, guys. Should I get another cat?
Yes.
It'll all be me going, yes,
on different accounts.
No, on the same account. Several like milliseconds apart.
Oh my goodness. Thanks so much for this, Ashley. This was amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great to chat to you. I'm now eating a candy cane, which isn't good for the recording. I got far too relaxed. So, Ashley, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. That was so much fun. Never laughed quite as hard during an interview as I think I did there. So thank you so much, Ashley Appleby.
Woo! Thank you. It's been lovely. I've enjoyed it.
So that was our interview with Ashley Appleby. Thank you so much for chatting to us, Ashley. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of A Polite Notice podcast with special guest Ashley Appleby. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at A Polite Notice Pod. Also, voting is still open in our F1 2024 season award, the Giggies. Check out the link in our bio via Instagram or Linktree to cast your vote in fun categories like the Through Goes Hamilton Overtake Award or the Max Let Checo Through Please Award for the most memorable drama within a scene. See you next time. Bye-bye. This has been a mini episode of A Polite Notice podcast, a Polite Notice production hosted by Daniela Stan and Rebecca Jones with special guest Ashley Appleby. Research by Eleana Cheshire and audio editing and technical production by Alex Vasile.
I completely just forgot that question. Like, you know, when you ask a question, you just blank.